my wife, I said, what should I do? And she said, well, I support you whether you stay in the insurance business or you go to work for the water authority. So I committed myself because of Jim Down. They hired me, in fact, he made the motion, the board of directors of the water authority, to hire Eugene Smith as the assistant water authority manager. And the other 4 board members went along with him. So, I'm the assistant manager. 5 years later, Hank Frank decided to retire. Jim made the motion to hire Eugene Smith as the general manager. The other 4 fellows voted with him. Here I am, the general manager. Everybody shook my hand and they clapped. And Downey said, I want to make, hey man, he said, don't close the meeting. I don't want to make one more motion. Nobody had no idea what he was talking about. He said, I make a motion that the assistant manager job be did away with because I don't want nobody down there second guessing Salt Smith. You understand what I'm saying? He didn't want somebody down there trying to undermine him. So he made the motion to dissolve that position so I could be the manager for all the people and wouldn't have to worry about somebody trying to take my job. That's the type of person and why I love this man, James H. Downey Jr. Now, when I was the manager of the water authority, we had a conference in New Orleans, and Jim and I would always room together. And this one day after we had attended some educational seminars, I asked Jim, I said, come on Jim, let's go over to the casino. Now this man never smoked, never drank, never gambled. He had no vices at all. Just a good family man, husband. So we go to the casino. As we walking through the casino, I stopped by this one machine and I said, Jim, I said, I'm gonna play this machine. He said, go ahead, man. It was a quarter machine. So I went in my pocket, took my coins out, put 1 quarter in the machine, the 2nd quarter, 3rd quarter, and they take 5 quarters for the master. The 4th quarter in, and I didn't have any more quarters. But I had some extra change. I said, Jim, let me have a quarter. He said, okay. So I went in my pocket, I gave him 2 dimes and a nickel. He puts my 2 dimes in his pocket, and he gave me a quarter. Well, I took the quarter, put it in the machine, pulled the hammer, and hit the jackpot. $1,000. Now, back in those days, they paid in coins. So that machine was singing. All them coins dropping down. So now I feel good. So we put all the coins in buckets, and I give them to Jim Down. I said, go cash these in for me. Okay, man. So I turned around and started playing. It got good to me now, right? He goes and comes back, he taps me on the shoulder. He said, hey man, here's your money. I turned around, he counted me out 10 $100 bills. Well, I took the money and put it in my pocket and kept playing. He touched me on my shoulder. Hey man, he said, where's my cut? I said, what cut? He said, you used my quarter. I said, Jim, wait a minute. I gave you a quarter. And I started playing again. Hey man, say, where's my cut? I said, Jim, listen to me. I gave you a quarter. He said, but you used my quarter in the machine. I said, well, let me tell you something. I said, I went to Jones School. Jones School taught me how to count. Jones School taught me that 2 dimes and a nickel was a quarter. And then I turned around and started playing again. He tapped me and said, hey man, I went to Jones School too. Jones School taught me that you put my quarter in that machine. So, needless to say, I had to accommodate. Now the other thing I want to mention to you, and I could have got in a lot of trouble listening to Jim Down. Jim is on council, I'm on the school board. In fact, at this time, I'm the president of the board, the school director. Jimmy Carter was the president of the United States. And Jimmy Carter had just made a treaty over in Egypt, the Camp David Accord. He brought Egypt and Israel together. And back in those days, President Carter didn't have press conferences like our president, and Bush and Carter and Clinton did. He had what he called town hall meetings. He would go all over the country to have his meeting. So he has scheduled a town hall meeting in Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. And don't forget now, he had just signed his agreement, first in the history of the Middle East. So the first town hall meeting was going to be at Aliquippa High School auditorium. You understand what I'm saying? But he's coming in town really for his first town hall meeting, but he wants to help his friend Eugene Atkinson. who was the county commissioner, and he was running for Congress. So he has a chance to kill two birds with one stone. Bishop Clark had a lot to do with him too. In the meantime, he's coming to town, and so Jim Downing decided that he wanted to see the president, Jimmy Carter. So to get to the town hall meeting, it was a lottery system. Everything went to the White House. If you wanted to attend that Aliquippa High School auditorium town hall meeting, you had to write a letter to the White House, request a seat. And people was coming from all over the world because history was made. It was coming from Europe, Japan, everywhere, trying to get a seat at that town hall meeting. So James Downing wanted to see the president. So he goes down to the courthouse to see Eugene who was the county commissioner who was running for Congress. And he goes to see Gene, and he tells Gene that, Gene, I want you to give me a ticket to see President Carter. Gene told him, say, Jim, there is no ticket. It's the lottery system. Everything goes to the White House. He said, well, President Carter is coming to help you. In fact, they were going to have a fundraiser after he spoke at Aliquippa High School at the mall. At that time, they had a restaurant and nightclub called the Top of the Mall. And they had sold tickets, $100 tickets, to raise money for Gene Atkinson. And President Carter was going to leave Aliquippa and go to the top of the mall to help, right? So Gene Atkinson said, Jim, I don't have a ticket myself. How can I get you a ticket? He said, but I'm so thankful the president coming to town because he's going to raise this money for me, which was important. So Jim disappointed because he just knew that Atkinson could get him a ticket. So he leaves the courthouse. Now at that time, my office was 3 buildings from Old Eden Park on Sheffield Road, where that Dairy Mart is. That was the Prudential Insurance Company office. That was my office. So he leaves the courthouse and he's coming to my office. And I was having a staff meeting. He knocks on the door and I answer the door. He said, hey man, we got to talk. I said, yeah, hold it, Jim. I said, I'm having a meeting. He said, we got to talk. I said, well, come on in. I took him in my other office. And then I said, I'll be about 10 minutes because I had to finish talking to my staff. And so after I finished with the staff meeting, I go in the back room. I say, this got to be important. He says, hey man, I want to see the president. I said, what you asking me? How can I get you to see the president? I said, go down and see Gene Atkinson. He says, I already did. I said, what did Gene Atkinson say? He said, Gene Atkinson said he don't have a ticket himself. He said, I'm coming to see you. You gonna get me to see the president. Jim, how am I gonna do that? It's a lottery system. He said, you're gonna do it. So I'm sitting back, and this is where it gets really tricky, and I want you to listen to this.